Hi grade fives. So you were given some work on fractions this week. It is on the website for you to do. We're going to do it inside of our journals today. But I'm going to go over and show you exactly how to do it. I'm only going to do about one or so questions from each section, so that way you can see how to do it, and then the rest will be up to you to do. So for the first one is comparing and ordering fractions. So we're going to label the missing fractions on a number line. Now we haven't done fractions on a number line, but as you can see, we start with 0 and we end with 1. That is one whole. So I'm going to count the numbers here of sections that there are and add the number on top here. So this would be 1 and this would be 2. So this is 1/2 and this is 2/2 or 1 whole. For this one, we've broken the number line down into thirds, 1, 2, 3 sections. This is my first section, my second section, and my third section. So I have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, or 1 whole. So your job is to finish filling in the quarters, the sixths, and the 12ths. So then we'll move down here to the comparing of the fractions. So I want you to let me know if this statement is true or false. So when you're doing this in your book, you can just write number 5, A, answer, number 5, B, answer. Okay, something like that in your notebooks there. So for number A, 1/3 is smaller than 1/2. So I'm going to go back up here, and 1/3 is less than 1/2. That is true. I'll come back down here and write true or just a T, whichever you would like to do, that's fine by me. Then I'll go to letter B. 1/4 is greater than 2/6. You're going to need to fill in the quarters and the sixths in order to answer that question. We're going to come down here to the very bottom, and this is question number 6. We're going to use the number line above to help put these fractions in order from smallest to largest. So I'm going to look here. I'm going to go back up to my number line. And my fractions down here are 8/12, 1/2, and 2/6. So I already know that this is 2/6, which is smaller than 1/2. So my first fraction would be 2/6. And then I'm going to count out here. I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8/12 should be about here. Again, you would have this filled in entirely because that's your job. 8/12 is bigger than 1/2. So I'll come back down here. 1/2 goes in the middle. 8/12 goes at the end. So these fractions in order from smallest to largest is 2/6, 1/2, 8/12. Okay? You're going to look again using this set of number lines you've made up here, and you're going to order these other fractions down here. And that is page 1. Page 2 is turning fractions and decimals into percentages. So if you look here at this top bit, it says decimal fractions also express parts of a whole. This strip has been divided into 10 equal parts, or 3 out of 10, or 3/10 is shaded. As you can see, 1, 2, 3 are shaded, 7 are not. So you're going to write the shaded fraction and the equivalent decimal. Okay? So I'm going to count how many sections are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My 6 is going to become my numerator, and the denominator is going to be the same denominator that I have down here, which is 10. So 6/10 of this group here are shaded. I'm going to add these 0.1 decimals together, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to make my decimal. My decimal is 0 and 6 tenths. Okay. Now this top one is nice because all the shaded ones are together. And same with this bottom one. But B, they're separated. That doesn't matter. Okay. You're still counting the shaded ones and adding them together here to get your new numerator. Denominator will be 10. And what is your decimal? Okay. Now I'm going to grab a marker here. If you have crayons or markers or anything at home, feel free to use them for this part. You can draw these little strips on your journal. So just draw something that looks like this, and this is divided into tens again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can divide yours into 10 little sections on your work or on your journal, and then color them like I'm going to. So 0.8, that is 8 tenths. Okay, 0 and 8 tenths. So 8 of these tens are going to be colored. So, oh, that marker is not a very nice marker. Let me grab a different one. Let's see if this one works. That one works better. Okay. So I'm going to shade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Color that in. And you can see my coloring's not perfect, but I gave it a good shot. Okay. This one, it shows as a fraction, 5 tenths. This one shows as a decimal, 0 and 4 tenths. And this one also shows as a decimal of 0 and 9 tenths. So you are going to color those in using this decimal to tell you how much gets colored. For number 3 on this page, you're going to need to draw these squares in your notebook. Try to use the lines as best you can. If you have a ruler, go for it. If you want to use the edge of a page or the edge of a book, anything you want, or you can do as I do and freestyle this. So I'm going to divide these holes into tenths. You can see for me here, they already have a little bit of a tick to show me where to go. You can just divide yours as best you can on your notebook. So I'm going to draw my lines here. Freestyling this as best I can. They're not perfect, but that's okay. And then I have, so I should have 10 sections here in my square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My fraction is 4 tenths. Take my nice pen, my color or my marker, or you can do this with your pen or pencil or whatever you choose. And I'm going to color 4 of them in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I have done 4 tenths. Next, I'm going to write that as a decimal, which is 0 and 4 tenths. Okay. You will do the same for these two. If you just draw a little square in your notebook, nice little square like this, and divide it into 10 sections, color them, and then show me your decimal. Okay, and that is page 2. Page 3 is more about percentages as well, but this time, and decimals, but this time we're going to do hundredths. So this time you're going to divide your square into 10 columns and 10 rows, which makes 100 squares. So 100 is a tenth of a tenth. Here 26 hundredths have been shaded. We can write this as 0 and 26 hundredths. There are no ones, 2 tenths, and 6 hundredths. So again, you're going to draw your nice little squares, and this time you're going to draw 10 sections vertically, so 10 columns, and 10 sections horizontally, or 10 rows. Very careful. Again, you can freestyle this if you want to, or you can get a ruler out and be really exact. Your call. And then I'm going to look here at my fraction. This fraction I have is 61 hundredths. Grab my trusty marker. Now, I know that each column is 10. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Am I done? No, I need to have 1. So I'm going to color just one little guy right there. Okay. I have now shaded 61 hundredths. So now I'm going to come over here. Again, I have 0 ones, 6 tenths, and 1 hundredth. 0 and 61 hundredths. You're going to finish this off for B, C, and D. Okay, you have 82 hundredths, 55 hundredths, and 27 hundredths. So, I want you to notice something here. This one is 6 tenths. That's how much is shaded in this square. 60 hundredths are shaded here. That's how much is shaded there. What do you notice about these two? Think about the equivalent fractions that we've been doing. These two are the same area is shaded. So 60 hundredths and 6 tenths have the same value. 0.60 is equal to 0.6. Okay? So, we're going to check that the above statement is true by shading these amounts and checking if they are the same. So you'll see here I've got 2 squares for each. I want you to draw out these squares in your notebook, and then we're going to color them. Yeah, grabbing my marker, 4 tenths. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's that part done. Now I need 40 hundredths. Again, I know that each column is 10, so I can just go 10, 20, 30, 40. Are they the same? Yes. So I'm going to put a little check mark there to show that this statement is true. I want you to try this with 6 tenths or 60 hundredths, 8 tenths or 80 hundredths, and 2 tenths or 20 hundredths. All right. Now this is where we get into percentages. So a percent means part per 100, and it is expressed using the percentage sign, which you've probably all seen. So here, 60% has been shaded gray, and it's the same as 60 hundredths. So 60 hundredths is the same as 0, and 60 hundredths, which is the same as 60%. For number 1, I want you to brainstorm a few times you might have seen percentages. One big one you might have seen them on is your grades, right? When you write a test, I usually give you a percent mark. Going on to part 2, we're going to fill in the missing values or the missing shades. So each grid is either shaded or not, and then you have the fraction, the decimal, and the percent. So I have 50 hundredths shaded, which is 0.50, or 0 and 50 hundredths, which is the same as 50%. Okay? I'm going to do B with you here as well because this one's a little different. But I have 30 hundredths, or 0 and 30 hundredths, or 30%. And this time I need to shade my graph. So this time you'll need to draw that graph in your journal. 10, 20, 30. Okay, now I have that shaded. Now I want you to go on to this bottom one, number 3, and we're going to decide, is 75% greater than 0 and 5 tenths? Well, 0 and 5/10 is the same as 0 and 50 hundredths, okay, which is also the same as 50%. So is 75% greater than 50%? Yes. I will write true. 1/4 or 1/4 is the same as 50%. Okay. This one's a little more tricky. I have to create an equivalent fraction. So I can multiply this by, I'm going to give this one to you, 25. And I get 25 out of 100. 25 out of 100 is the same as 25%. So no, it is not. If you have some trouble with this section, feel free to message me on Facebook or email me, and I will do my best to help you walk through that. And the last page, yay! So, it is useful to know some common percentages, such as 25%, 50%, or 75%. So, we're going to shade the grids to show the following fractions by completing the missing information. Okay? So, 1/4, 25, or 0 and 25 hundredths, 25%. They are the same. I'm going to shade 1/4 of this. As you can see, this was divided into 4 sections. I'm going to shade one of those sections. Okay, this one is 1/2, this one is 3/4, and this one is 4/4, which is actually all of it. So you can just go right ahead and color the whole thing, okay, in your notebooks. Now I'm going to go to question 5 on here. Shade these shapes to show the following percentages. So you're going to draw these shapes in your notebook, okay, and you're going to shade the following percentages. What is 50%? It is half. I'm going to shade half of this guy. What is 25%? I go back up here, it's 1/4. Well, lucky for me, this is divided into 4 quarters. And I'm just going to color one of them. Okay. This last question here with the circle is a little bit of a bonus question. It might be a little bit harder. It's a little bit trickier. But James goes on holiday and he has $100 spending money and spends it as outlined below. So that's what's outlined here in this bit here. To show this on the pie graph and label each section of the pie with the correct percentages. So I'm going to start here. Now this is going to be a little bit harder for you guys because you don't have the actual circle in front of you. You're going to have to build it yourself. So if you build it yourself and you show me this, I'm not going to be too picky about how accurate you are. Well, I'll be a little bit picky about how accurate you are. If you're completely off, then we're going to have a problem. But if you're really close, then we'll be okay. So James spent $25 on rides. So if he has, this is 100. Each one of these ticks is 1. Each one of these longer ones is 10. So I'm going to count 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so this was rides. Oh, and he spent 25% or 25 100ths. Okay. Next, he spent $35 on snacks. So I know this is 5. So there's my 5. 10, 20, 30. And I'm going to draw my line going here. All right, so he spent this on snacks, which was 35% or 35 100ths. Okay. Now, he spent $15 on new flip-flops. 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is, I'm just going to write flip-flops, FF. It was 15% or 15 100ths. Okay. And the last one kind of does it for you. You spent $25 on souvenirs. Again, I have my 5, 10, 20. So this is souvenir, 25%, or 25 100ths. Okay, if you don't want to do this one, that's fine. I showed you exactly how to do it, so that should be helpful. I hope you checked out those videos that I posted, Math Antics. He does a really good job of explaining how to change fractions to decimals and all that kind of stuff. So please give them a watch. If you're still confused after you watch them, give me a shout, Facebook or my email, and I will give you help as quickly and as best as I can. So thank you for watching this. I hope you get a chance to work on that research project I have going for you guys. There should be a video up here as well that guides you on how to take the notes and stuff. Please let me know which one you picked. I know you guys chose them earlier in the school, or when we were back in class, but if you feel like changing your mind, go ahead. That's totally and completely fine with me. It's up to you. All the research should be on the website, so take a read of that. And I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy and are getting outside now that the weather's hopefully warming up a little bit. I will see you guys later.